Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the fuck it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
Rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Dude, I stayed up last night. I couldn't sleep for some reason. I stayed up last night from about, till about like 4:30 in the morning. And Andy, I got to tell you, I know you said you didn't really want to support it because Tyson didn't support it.
No, not because he didn't support it, but go on.
But man, and when it first came out, there was only 2 episodes and I hadn't seen it in a while. And then last night, I couldn't sleep. So I was channel surfing via my streaming channels. And I was like, I wonder where the Tyson documentary is at, what number. So, I don't know if there'll be a second season, but if this is one and done, they had the rest of the episodes. I think it's 7 episodes total. So they posted the other 5. And again, I was going to watch this regardless, but I'm telling you, man, this thing has Winning Time vibes. I mean, it was like I opened a bag of chips. I started to watch one and I had to fucking finish it, man. I'm telling you, and I'll just say this to you, and I know you didn't really want to check it out, but watch the first 3.
I'm not going to watch it.
At all?
No, not at all. I have no interest in it. Tyson said that they went around him. They took it. He gets nothing for it. They're using him. This is a man's life story that they stole to do what they want to do with. So, and they didn't include him in his own life story. So he asked not to support it. So I'm not going to support it. That's just like if you asked me not to support something about you, I wouldn't support it. So I'm not even going to support it with my channel. Not even.
I don't understand the personal investment in comparison to Mike Tyson versus me, because you know me personally. Yeah. You don't know Mike Tyson personally.
I know. I don't know.
Not only that. When I went out to Vegas to be a part of Mike Tyson's podcast, they kind of did me foul on that.
Yeah.
But my bigger point is in terms of what people like about our podcast and our points of view and the way we review things, this thing screams shit to be reviewed comedically and from our 2 cents. So I just think we're doing our fans a disservice. But if that's your stance, that's your stance.
It is, because, I mean, I don't know Dave Chappelle, but when he said, don't watch the Chappelle show while they're streaming it and they didn't give him access to his own name, I didn't do it. I believe in the independent entertainer. I believe we have to support each other. So he is an entertainer. He said that they did him wrong. I can't support it. I understand what you're saying. It screams that it needs to be reviewed, but when you do that, you shine light on it, and then there's more people that are going to watch it, and then there's more views, and then suddenly it's something that someone who, didn't deserve maybe that guy's name or being able to use his name the way that they did or how they did him, and I feel like I'm doing a disservice. That's just me, though. That's who I am. You know me as a person. The cap idea of me won't allow me to do that, and Tyson, tomorrow, this is the way this entertainment is. They may give him $10 million and he'd go, all right, I don't know. I don't know where his stance is. I just know that he asked not to. Dana White got rid of his millions of dollars endorsements to stand with Tyson. And just as an entertainer, I don't want to do that. I don't think it's in my interest. It's for our podcast. It's in our interest to do it. But as a human, I don't think I can do it.
All right. First email from Rob Dorsey. Bad Lieutenant. Hey, fellas, just dropping this trailer off because I knew exactly what Nick Cage movie my dude was talking about. It's got a subtitle, which is why you guys probably couldn't find it. It's Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. It had Eva Mendes, sexy ass up in there. Aries, I'm going to check in with you on another email so I can hit you up with some motivation and spirit uplifting. The forces are really working against you, brother, but there are so many good people on your side. Continue holding your head up. And remember one thing, no matter what anybody does, says, or assumes about you in this life, Tupac will always be the GOAT, motherfuckers. LMAO. Much love, Rob Dorsey. And then he sent a trailer. Yeah, like I said, I didn't know there was two bad lieutenants.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think it's funny though. You got to slip in the Tupac is the GOAT on you.
Yeah, no, that was funny. Dottie, representing the Dingling Danglers Committee, being pedantic is the glue. What's good, Aries and Mr. Pedantic? Hope all is well. First off, whoever said that Ethan Hawke's character from Training Day is the same character from Brooklyn's Finest can jump off a cliff and survive the fall like that old nigga from the Midsommar movie. I dead ass went out of my way to look it up. All it did was lead me to disappointment. I felt dumb or even looking into it, knowing already it was bullshit. Some dudes on here really need to know their movies better. Speaking of movies, I heard dudes recommend the Raid Redemption. Dog, you guys got to tackle that when you get a chance. Definitely some foreign man food right there. There's also a sequel, which I liked even better. Both are good movies. The podcast is heat. I'm starting to notice the YouTube streams are slowly increasing. It low-key makes me proud that y'all consistently gaining momentum. I'm currently in the 180s episodes, and I've realized while streaming, Andy is like that uncomfortable chair that Bill Burr was using as a comedy through line to make the interview more interesting, which I thought was brilliant. If they were to take that chair away, the interview probably wouldn't have been as entertaining. My point is, Andy, you're a very annoying streamer. Sometimes you babble niggas to sleep. Sometimes you be in your bag talking facts. Then all of a sudden you stutter and forget what you just 2 seconds ago fall off topic and then babble some more. It's moments like this where I begin to cherish later on in the podcast. It's almost like an awkward balance. I enjoy the dumb shit Andy says. Boy, when the emails start pouring in and they start coming after Andy's head, it's so fucking satisfying. I love it and makes the podcast even more entertaining. We need this. No hate at all, Mr. Pedantic. Keep doing you. It's all love. That's all for now. In the meantime, keep the podcast jangling and the dinglings dangling. Shout out to Leroy Furious. Hashtag what that CD was. Hashtag Screet.
Dude, you know how many people, and this has been over a year, people have been telling us we got to do this Raid Redemption. We do have to check that out. How many people hit us up about that? Have you seen it at all?
No, I'm not even right. I'm trying to even remember what that is.
It's an Asian. I believe it's Asian.
Oh, okay.
And it's supposed to be intense, like scene after scene, just action. So maybe we have to check that one out. But it's subtitles, though, I think, the whole way through.
Yeah, then I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, I can't. Again, I don't, when I watch movies, I watch movies to relax, not to read.
Yeah, but I don't, if it's, do you think if John Wick was in a different language and you had to read the subtitles, would it make a difference to you? Because there is some subtitles in John Wick, but there's so much action, I don't even pay attention to it.
Yeah, I don't mind a subtitle here or there. And I even understand it based on what if the movie is contextually about Asian culture or whatever the culture is, and it lends itself to the story for a reason. Yeah, I don't mind a little bit of it, but not for no fucking hour and a half.
Not for an hour.
Movie.
Not for a
full movie. That's too much.
I get it. Yeah, it can get there. What I've done lately is I've just left the subtitling on all my premium channels. That way,
right.
Because sometimes I'm watching something and then someone will come in and make a noise or something. And I can see what's going on. I can read what's going on. So I'm just getting kind of used to having subtitles. So it's not affecting me the same way. I got used to it.
Yeah. I never knew a subtitle movie that I met and liked. Joshua Pillow, new Whitney Houston movie, The Fame Monster. Hello, Aries and Andy. I've been listening to the podcast and sometimes watching on YouTube for a while now. I love the podcast and hope that Aries overcomes his squeamish as well as gets Gemma's attention one day. I also hope that Andy will be able to remember names, dates, anything of importance. I guess I'll get to the point now. Have you guys seen the trailer for the Whitney Houston biopic that's about to come out? If you have, what do you think about the actress that is portraying Whitney? Do you believe she hits your criteria for a portrayal? I think she is a decent fit, not exactly spot on. If you haven't, here's a link to watch the trailer. I'm beginning to see a common thread in all these biopic. The fame monster grabs and manipulates whatever insecurities you have. For instance, in the trailer for the Whitney Houston movie, it seems as though Whitney was trying to find herself and trying to gain some type of control over her life. The fame monster, from what we've seen in the media, destroyed her through drugs, and it would seem not being surrounded by people that would stop her from self-destruction. In the Elvis film, it seemed like the monster got him through the love of music and his family. The Colonel was able to use fame and money to basically slowly kill Elvis. Even with Michael Jackson, he was running from something. He changed his skin and nose so he wouldn't be like Joe, just for the fame monster to have the world attack him for how he looked, never allowing him to be able to truly love his family. His world was always a stage. The fame is a cold, cruel devil. Anyway, love the podcast. Peace. Have you seen? I
haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. You haven't seen her. Who they got?
I think I remember seeing something. I remember seeing a trailer available, but I never actually saw the trailer.
No, I'm gonna have to check it out. I didn't see it either.
Yeah, I'm wondering with her passing, though, with her being gone, if she's not able to somehow reap the benefits of that, and they're using her name and image, and if the money isn't going to go to Bobby or some part of her family, I don't know that I could support it. I don't know that I could get behind it because if they're going to use her likeness without her approval and her say as an artist, I don't know if I can get support behind it. How about you?
I see what you're trying to do there.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, on another degree, listen, at the end of the day, and I speak lightly on this, no one puts a gun to your head and makes you make the decisions you make. So at the end of the day, technically, I think we're all held accountable for what we do and the decisions that we make. But certainly being in a business like Hollywood, if you don't have the right kind of foundation or structure around you or support system or whatever you can lean on to get away from this cruel monster called show business, it doesn't help. It doesn't help in terms of whatever your insecurities are, or, you know, whatever plagues you. It doesn't help. But again, no one forces you to go under the knife and have surgery. No one forces you to put drugs into your body. So, you know, it's like I'm trying to be sensitive to what he's saying in regards to these people. But at the same time, you have to be held accountable for your own actions. But it doesn't help.
I was going to say something and I rethought it when I was processing it in my head. Is that, a lot of times, like when you saw the Elvis or someone who comes up from no money and then they get someone to manage and then use the family kind of to, work, you never had this before, you have it. And then they kind of guide the family and you through some of the dangerous times, like with the Colonel. And I was thinking, well, maybe as we see all these, kids from actors that are coming up, maybe they're guided in a better way because their parents have already been through it. But then I thought about Michael Douglas's kid who passed doing drugs. So, I don't know, man. Is it the industry or is it just the world? Is it life? I don't know that we're protected. I don't know that there's any way to protect someone from that. I think that maybe there's more of it because when you have money, you have access to more. But it's just that I thought about that, Michael Douglas' son, you would think that you would have some way of preventing some of those things from happening, and he loses his kid to drugs. So I guess there's no way around this. This is just I don't know. I'm perplexed by it because you would think that you would have a better roadmap, but maybe there is no such thing.
Yeah. I mean, like what you said. I mean, having money. Yeah, well, I think between the money, because drugs are expensive, but I think between the money and the fame, you have access, but you also have influence. Being around all these Hollywood types and going to parties where people are around it, people are doing it. That's why I say again, if you don't have a strong foundation in terms of family or friends, or if it's religion that works for you, or anything, to really hold you down, having money, which gives you access, or having fame, which gives you access, none of that helps. And it's not like, in show business, again, I've said I wouldn't wish this business on my worst enemy. Because when it's good for you, there's nothing like it. But even when it's good for you, it's Adam and Eve, or however it works. It's Eve or whatever biting the apple. There's something
Let me ask
fucked up about this.
Let me ask you a quick question about that though, because your life, you got in early. You started 14, right? 16, you had a stride, right?
Right.
But and your mom was in the business, so you had some roadmap, or at least somebody to tell you where the speed bumps were. Do you think that as you gained some popularity, did it bring out more insecurity, or does it make those insecurities go away and make you feel like you're more invincible? Even when you were having the success, that rise as a 16-year-old, does it bring out the worst part of you, or does it bring out a better? Does it make you more stronger? What does it do?
I don't know whose quote it was, but somebody had a quote where they said something about money just makes you more of who you are. It doesn't change you. It just makes you more of who you've always been. But
does the fame make you more insecure? Do you feel you have to live up to a certain image? Because you also, and no one says this about you, they always bring up whatever parts they bring up to be demeaning towards you a lot of times through this business, but you haven't had any drug problems. You're not having alcohol problems. You're not getting DUIs. You're not that person. So you were able to.
I don't want to,
You were able to avoid that.
Yeah, well, if I'm being totally transparent, no one ever wants to label themselves anything negative. I wouldn't call myself a drunk or an alcoholic. And there's that term functioning alcoholic, which I don't, alcoholic is just not a great title to have on you. So and I'm not trying to make one, it's like the lesser of two evils, but if you had to choose between the stereotypical negative, like alcoholic, like Denzel in the movie Flight, you flying airplanes upside down, because you're halfway roasted or whatever, versus someone who can be fucked up but still handle their responsibilities and get the job done. I guess if you had to choose between the two evils, you choose the lesser one, but both are bad. But because of some of what I've gone through, I probably have leaned on alcohol more than I should. But here's the thing, maybe if things had taken off for me the way I envisioned and never had to look back, and they just stayed on a certain trajectory, who knows? But because I can't speak from that experience, but what I can speak to is that when shit didn't go as planned and I've hit a lot of roadblocks and obstacles and pitfalls, that didn't help. Again, that ain't helping me, because there are times where between self-doubt, depression, the urge to want to quit and give up, you look for things to help get you through. So whether that whether that eventually becomes a problem, or whether that eventually labels me a functioning, I don't know. I don't know where I'd be if things had taken off the way I envisioned and the trajectory had stayed the way I envisioned.
Could it be worse? Could it be better? Do you have?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't imagine it would be worse because in terms of what I've always wanted and what I've always seen for myself, my depression or my moments of feeling fucked up come from not having it and from not being there.
Right.
Right. So if I had it and I was there, there's so much that I would have done already that I've wanted to do that I haven't been able to do. But
so when you see these guys that have everything, they hit it, they're making millions and millions, 20 million a movie, or they're athletes and they're getting, $100 million contracts and then they get a DUI the next day. That doesn't make any sense to you.
No, I mean, a DUI, if it's one thing that you get it once, that's a slip up. Anybody could slip up. But in terms of those guys that have it like that and they still fucked up or still doing fucked up shit, that I don't understand. I don't understand. And I know we've gone into depth about that in terms of conversation, but I don't know. As far as these biopics go, I would see it because, Whitney's just an interesting, when you think about these superstars and legends, they're interesting people, not just creatively, but in terms of who they are. So I'm always fascinated by shit like that. When I went and saw Top Gun Maverick, they showed the preview for Bowie. And I thought that, like Bohemian Rhapsody and like the Elton John flick and like all these biopics with entertainers, I thought it was somebody playing Bowie in a movie about Bowie, but it's not. It's like a documentary. It's actually Bowie.
It's just
it's footage. So I don't know that I would see that because Bowie is a little too eccentric for me.
Yeah.
But again, anybody in the game that's interesting and you're in the game, I think you have to do your homework.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thankful that, I got into this industry late and I go back and I think about it. If I was a young man, if I was in my 20s and I didn't even have to be successful, just getting to be able to go out all the time and being around comedy, I don't think I would have made it, dude. I really don't. I like cocaine. Just the honesty, to be honest on the podcast, to be like you said, just honest about it. I think I liked it too much. I mean, I didn't have money to do it all the time. And I still had moments where like, this isn't healthy. Like I might not make it out of this weekend. So
right.
I don't know, man. I'm like you said, it's the access, it's the money, it's the access. And then feeling like you might be able to, you can get away with it. I mean, the more I see like the Chris Farleys and the, you get it, man. And I think we can hide our insecurities behind money and fame or, just notoriety. So yeah, I get it. It's difficult, man. Just difficult.
Again, this email, this person, their title is your mom. So again, it ain't my mom. It's just, that's their email. Yeah. Elephant in the room. What up, my ninjas? Keep your heads up during this trying times and know that you got fans to support you. Kanye voice, and you can live through anything if Magic made it. Gotta thank you guys for the show recommendations. City on a Hill is a beast. And what makes the show, Kevin Bacon, this man got swag, poise, and delivery is just on point. I love how he takes full advantage of his FBI ranks. He still has a conscience and he sees Sinclair doing dirt. Winning Time also has a good tempo to it as well. And who makes that show? John C. The man transformed into bus that The man transformed bus that I forgot. It's just, you should grammatically, you should have said the man transforms so believably into bus that I forget it's John C. You just said the man transformed into bus that I forget it's John C. Yeah, brother, you got to clean that up. That ain't a $10 a lot of money, but that is just doo-doo in places in the bathroom that are outside the toilet. Got my respect for the talent I didn't know he had. Show suggestion, The Orville by Seth MacFarlane. Basically a spoof of Star Trek. Seth and Scott Grimes make it funny. Hoping you guys check out The Woman King. I wanted to watch it this weekend. Viola Davis, just that type to kill a nigga. Lastly, Handy Andy is thick in the head for throwing shade on 90s J. I doubt you are reasonable Peace to you both, Action Jackson. Dude, I just finished watching the third season of City on a Hill. I think they did, I want to say 7. I wonder what makes up an entire season, because the way they ended, well, the way I don't say ended it like that was it. That might just be the current I just caught up to the current episodes because I haven't been watching in a while. But the way that last episode, I think it was episode 7. Oh boy. So from what I've heard, this is the final season, but that might not, obviously that wasn't the final episode. So I think I'm on 7. And I don't know how many episodes constitutes an entire season, but the way that episode 7 ended, this season is juicy, man. And they added more of a humanity to Kevin Bacon's character, whereas in the first 2 seasons, he was just such a scumbag. But now they've added a layer of humanity to him this season. And I mean, again, man, for those of you who know the show, that whole Jill Hennessy, Kevin Bacon, Aldous Hodge, I forget what the black girl's name is, but that cast is stellar, man. And that show fucking rocks. Like I said, the first season was great. Second season kind of lost a little bit of steam, but they made up for it with this third fucking season. So based on the last episode I saw, and again, I think I'm caught up, that was a cliffhanger. So if this is the final season, they're really going out with a push.
They're trying. Did they make him too nice though, Kevin Bacon, in this?
No. When I say a layer, I mean just a thin layer, just so he wasn't, because the first 2 seasons he was such a scumbag.
No empathy,
and I still liked him, but just to, this little layer of humanity makes you like him even more. He's one of those characters that they say he's the bad guy you love to hate.
What I really like about him in this, when people talk about him, like, those guys who smoke a ton of cigarettes and drink coffee or like beer, and you can smell that coffee beer, that stale smell.
Right.
When he's acting in that, I smell it. Like I can smell it in the room when he's on TV.
That's a good way to put that. That's
how good he is at making me feel like that character. He brought someone who's that scuzzy kind of person that I think of in my life. That it's it. I see. I only see that it has 8 episodes for this season. I don't know if that's true, but that's what.
Okay, really.
So you still have one more left. Does it look like it could end in one more episode? I could be wrong. I'm just looking at what.
Not really, but if they listen, great writing is like magic. Not Magic Johnson, but David Blaine type shit, and Chris Angel. How many episodes in season 3, City on Hill? The bigger the show, the greater the illusion. So maybe they can pull it off, but goddamn, boy, this has you on the edge of your seat.
Season 3 didn't come up. Hey, what do you say that I was putting shade on Jay-Z 90s?
I just think he's a hardcore Jay-Z fan.
I didn't put any shade on Jay-Z. Jay-Z's still one of my. That's key to me. But I was just saying at that time period, popularity. That's all that was. I love when you can't say anything about anybody and someone gets upset. That's how Jay-Z is, though. I guess if you have that kind of love, that's where it goes. I'm looking for it, and I don't see it here. But I think it's 8 episodes, because that's what a lot of these series are now, 8 episodes.
Yeah, depending on how they end it, I could, it doesn't feel like it needs to run its course, because there's certain shows you watch and you go, man, it's time for this thing to hang it up. This thing is potent, man. And speaking of Kevin Bacon, and this is what I love about him, again, when you go movie star or actor, I don't think he's a movie star, but he's a hell of an actor, because I've seen him play the hero role, but he's also great at playing the scuzzy role. One of the scuzziest performance ever, given the nature of what it was him as the the prison guard in the boys' juvenile prison or detention in Sleepers.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
I mean, that character's even worse than Jackie Rohr.
Yeah,
because at least Jackie Rohr is human in terms of You see at times his vulnerability. You see his humanity.
Well, he
even
had a
through
daughter.
the beer and the cigarettes.
He has the daughter. It brings him,
Right.
So yeah, I just looked up something. It says 8 episodes. So it's 8 episodes. But I just saw something else that said that there's still a question whether they're going to bring it back for season 4.
That's what I'm saying, man. The way this season is playing out, and I think maybe they thought based on season 2, yeah, this thing is, we can pump out one more. Because season 2 really lost steam. But the way they made up for it in season 3, I mean, it's like if you were kind of wavering, this brought you back.
Yeah.
This really brought you back. And by the way, I have to say, Corbin Burnson, who's the main, I want to hope the word I'm using is right, antagonist. But he's the main piece of shit in this season because he's drugging and raping women. And this is the part of the humanity where Kevin Bacon's character, Jackie Rohr, is going, as fucked up as I am, and he was working for this guy, and the guy was paying him well, gave him a BMW, the whole 9. Corbin Burnson's character is loaded with dough. Even Kevin is going, I can't look the other way on this. And now it makes me think back to the very first season, which is the episode which really got me open in the first place, when the little fucking piece of shit drug dude had his daughter set up and sexually assaulted. Yeah. And remember when Kevin shot him in the mouth with his gun? So there's a little bit of a thing for Kevin with women being taken advantage of and drugged and raped. This hits home for him a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's coming full circle. It's I'm telling you, I fucking love this show, man.
I have to see it. I caught the first episode and that was it. That's all I've caught so far.
Right.
I'll finish it. I
mean the first episode of the 3rd season?
Yeah, I just didn't like season 2 that much. Season 2 didn't grab me. It wasn't horrible. It just didn't have that same, dude. You know where they ended on season 1? It was going to be hard for them to come back and top it. And I guess to me it just didn't get there. But season 3, the way you're talking about it, it catches back up. So maybe it needed that season to develop all the new characters who were there. So we'll see. I'll check it out. I'll try to finish that up this week.
Yeah, and I'd be curious. Well, obviously they're going to do a season 2 of Winning Time, and like I said, there's so much meat on those bones, given the history of what is the Lakers. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I also finished, and I think there's one more episode to be had on Hulu's Lakers Legacy. I'm telling you, I didn't sleep at all last night, so I ended up catching up to that too. And that Lakers you watched it? Yeah, that shit is good too.
And it does. It gives you more. It answers more questions.
Yeah, I mean, it really gives you a different dynamic from. And listen, again, being a dude, I've seen all the sports documentaries. The Magic and Bird, Courtship of Rivals, the ESPN 30 for 30, Best of Enemies, the fucking Winning Time. So you'd say to yourself, what else can they say that we don't already know? What else can they cover that hasn't already been covered? But what's great about the Lakers Hulu is there is other angles. And we never really saw anything that got in depth about Kobe and Shaq.
Right.
And what happened to the Lakers after the Magic and the Showtime era ended. So this is a whole new bag of chips as far as that goes. The in-depth details about Mitch Kupchak and his relationship with Phil Jackson and how disgruntled Phil had become with Kobe and said, look, if either one of us has to go. So, yeah, man, the Lakers is the gift that keeps on giving.
I think the Kobe thing, that Kobe angle.
Right.
Because no one wants to say anything about Kobe, especially now.
Right.
So being, this docu-series, I think it'll be good because you'll get to see the behind the scenes that, you don't get. I think if they approach it honestly, if it's honestly approached, because Kobe was Kobe. I mean, that's who he was.
Listen, Kobe was, and I know from actually seeing it, when Shaq was left to go to Miami and the spin on it from the media and from the perception of the people was that it was Kobe that ran him out of town. Dude, I remember I went to like I said, I went with Redman to the Staples Center to go see Jay-Z perform at the Staples Center And Kobe walked in and the whole place booed him. Mercilessly. Booed him. And I remember he was walking, came in with Vanessa and he was holding her hand and they booed him and he threw his hand up in the air like almost a celebration as though to say, yeah, I'm the villain, give it to me. But they booed the fuck out of him when that happened.
I love though, like when you let years go by and then even when they're talking, when you see the old interviews of Kobe, when they'll say, well, what about Shaq? When he talks about Shaq being one of the greatest players ever. And he goes, what if Shaq, there's an interview where he goes, what if Shaq would have stayed in the same kind of, if he would have been able to stay in the same kind of shape as you? He goes, 10 rings. 10 rings. You know, Kobe's thing was just, he wanted to see, he was that Jordan. He wanted the dedication. Talent was one thing. He wanted you to live and breathe it.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll eventually get back into it, but I'm gonna just say this, and I'm not trying to throw dirt on Kobe's name. Rest in peace, but it seemed like there was a little bit of, and this is just my gut, there's a little bit of sliminess to Kobe in certain ways, though. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, but let me ask, because you said that. Let me just ask you this though: do you think if Shaq would have stayed in shape all year long, come in at the beginning of training camp in shape every year, like Kobe shape, do you think you would have still felt that? You think because he needed to be the dude? Yes. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that poses in it, because when I watched it last night, that's one of my notes, that'll be a question to you in terms of if Kobe and Shaq stayed together versus if the Jerrys didn't break up the Bulls. But we'll leave that there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good. I like that, though. I like that. That's a good cliffhanger right there.
Yeah. Keenan Smith 0824. Aries and Andy, hey, A&A, longtime fan, first-time emailer. Hope you guys are doing good and keeping positive vibes through all the bullshit. I wanted to throw in a few out of the ordinary questions for you guys to answer. Do you guys have an off season or a time you like to take off every year? Do you guys do any investments into real estate, retirement, etc.? If you could go back in time 20 years ago, what would you tell yourself? Well, Keenan Smith, thanks for the email, first off. To answer your questions, do you have an off season or a time you like to take? I wish I did. I wish I could take off and go do some shit. But James Brown got to work, baby. And for my own psyche. But at the same time, I also have a fear too of being off too long, because I always feel like I get rusty and I'll pull a Frank Sinatra and I can't remember the words to my own songs. Do you guys have any investments in the real estate, retirement, etc.? Yeah, I mean, I think Andy and I both invested in stocks. So every now and then we jibber jabber about what the market is doing. And I'd like to invest in more things as well. So yes. And if you could go back in time 20 years ago, what would you tell yourself? Nigga, put this hot link down. Put the hot link down, nigga. I tell myself a couple things. Shut the fuck up. Put the hot link down. And fuck that bitch, nigga. You ain't got to fuck that bitch.
I might have told myself that I might want to start Propecia.
What's that?
Keep your hair from falling out. Buy Apple before the iPad came out. The iPod. But that's more than 20 years. Or it's around 20. Yeah, I don't know. It's older than 20 years now. I just remember
almost on some inside trader shit. You would have had no idea.
Dude, I remember when Apple after Steve Jobs had left, and then he came back, Apple was down to change. It wasn't a stock that people were anticipating ever coming back. But, without insider trading, just on my life, I would tell myself that if I was looking at it as of right now, I would tell myself, and if I couldn't change anything, but I could tell myself something, I would let myself know I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. And when I get to the other side, it's going to be much more clear, but you just have to put your head down and keep going. And I would have let myself know that I was going to get through it, because there's moments when I was going through the divorce and the kids and not getting to do what I wanted, not seeing that there was something that I was going to get to do that I wanted to do in life. I didn't think that was going to happen for me, but I would let myself know that I'll get through it. It'll work out. And taking time off, man, dude, it's the scariest thing, taking time off when you work for yourself. Because when you're not working, you're not making any money. That's why those investments, I would like to have some more real estate. That would be helpful. But honestly, the first few years that I worked with you, dude, I honestly didn't feel like I was working. I was doing what I wanted to do, and I've been wanting to do it for so long that I felt like I was getting treated out every single weekend. But then the travel catches up to you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't think our job is that it's work, the travel. And I think we said this before, the travel's the work. The job that we do is good. But even after 1 week, I feel rusty, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, this week we had this week off. So I've been, doing a lot of talking to myself, trying to reacquaint myself with the job. So yeah, and at some point I do believe that I'm going to deserve to treat myself to a vacay. But yeah, man, I think even then I would still try to figure out a place or time to get it in. I'm going to try to get it in.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do dates when we're off. I'm going to not try to do dates, but I'm going to try to find sets that I could go do in London.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to try to figure that out. I don't think any of my shit's going to translate, but I'll find out.
Frank Williams, Would You Rather Part 2. Would you rather part 2? A&A, what's the deal? I know it's been a very different 2 weeks, but just continue to hang on like your nutsack and everything will be okay. Like you said, your true fans will know what it is. Now to my question, and this is all for $1 million. Would you rather work out with Lizzo for 1 hour a day for 30 days? Do a celebrity boxing match with either Corey Holcomb, Zoe Williams, Mike Epps, or Faison Love? Only if you win, you will get paid, so choose wisely. And last but not least, watch a porn starring Mr. Marcus and Mr. Spears, a.k.a. You Mother from Beginning to End, no disrespect, a.k.a. You Mother from Beginning to End. I don't know what that means. Side note.
Go ahead.
No, what is it?
No, was he trying to say your mother? Watch it porno with your mother?
And last but not least, watch a porno starring Mr. Marcus and Mr. Spears, a.k.a., which stands for also known as You Mother from Beginning to End, no disrespect. Also known as You Mother.
No, I didn't get it.
Yeah, that's a riddle poorly worded.
Okay.
Side note, the last scenario requires no physical activity, LOL. Y'all been great to me. I'm glad my Steve's been making the cut, and it's my way of saying thank you for the conversation. In my Andy voice, every week I really feel like I'm a part of the team, and you guys are my best friends that I never really met, LOL. But I'm not sorry for the long email. It's like me apologizing to a chick for giving her the long dick. I knew that, considering some of the emails we've gotten, yeah, dog, this is not, this is not what you think it is in terms of length. Dewan Curse has just entered the chat. That nigga used to write scrolls, nigga. I knew what I was doing, LOL. That's what I would say to her if I had a long one. But that's another conversation. Stay up, my partners, and to the Ball Brigade brothers and the loyal bitch badge holders, yehi. That's a no-brainer for me, dude. I would rather work out with Lizzo for an hour a day. It's a double win. One, we both get to lose weight. Actually, it's a triple win. We both get to lose weight. I get to fuck her slim at the end of the day when the results come in, and I get paid $1 million. That beats being hit.
Yeah, but you gotta learn how to play the flute, though.
Oh, I'll play it. That's called eating pussy. You blow into the pussy and you punch the nipples in a certain sequence, and it happens. Yeah, that's not as, that wasn't as Saw-like Frank, as the one you gave me about with the Gemma, the Jordan, the Tyson, and the comedy. That's a no-brainer. Yeah, that was a tough one. This one right here is like, I get to fuck a slim chick, I get to work out and be slim, and I get $1 million. That's come on. But keep them coming, dog. You do well. Everybody. That wasn't as challenging. Let me see. Bruce Bickley. What up, Bears and Andy? Right to it. Tupac is Johnson. Jay is Jordan. Tupac had his time and his legacy will never be taken away, but he retired while still in his prime. Jay went up against Pac, but had his best years after Pac retired. I thought the basketball talk would explain it better, but I realized reasonable doubt cannot even be Jay winning the first ring against Pac. Maybe it's more like Jordan versus Kobe. Kobe played with Jordan. We could see that he had what it takes, but he won that first ring when Jordan was no longer an issue. This is not a conversation about whether Jay could face Pac directly. It's about the fact that they did not truly face each other on the court. With that said, back to Magic versus Air. How many rings do you think Jordan could have gotten if Magic was still a threat to those rings? The problem I have with pussy cologne is a lot of niggas would wear that shit pretending they got some. Well, shit, there's a lot of niggas that wear cologne pretending they smell good when they don't. But it seems like Black Panther has elements from the Woman King, the female guardsman with the bald heads, which is influenced by real things. I think mostly that's a heavy African trait. It's like, motherfuckers with spears and shields and no shirts. Naked titties is a part of Africa. A little nervous about the movie because I saw articles about how Hollywood did not know how to promote it. It makes me think I'm not going to get enough battle scenes. Oh, that's an interesting thing. I never knew that. It's amazing that, and this is again why I say the sickness of this business. What do you mean you don't know how to promote it? Promote it like you would promote anything else. I don't know sometimes if Hollywood is just being racist or they're being insulting to an audience by thinking they're not intelligent enough to figure it out. Or maybe it's both. It's like if you build it, they will come. Why is there a special need to promote 1,000 niggas with swords and shields chanting? But you put together a good trailer, and if it looks interesting, people will go support it. There are movies and trailers you've seen that look spectacular, and then the movie is shit, as they say. Oh, the movie was the trailer. So, stop it with this bullshit. How to promote it? How do we promote 1,000 niggas with no white people in it, chanting and doing fucking cultural shit?
I was with you 100% on what you're saying because I don't think that there's no magic formula to promote any. You promote it. You do what you do. You already know how to promote it. Here's the thing though I thought about as you were saying it. Do you think there's fear that if they, a lot of times they'll promote something like, McDonald's and then we'll team up and they'll have promotion that way. Or, there's cross promotion, right? There's a soda company with something else. Do you think there's any fear that they get it? They try to match up something. This is where and this is where I think it is a little bit of racism and fear, like you just said. There's no difference if they do a promotion with Coca-Cola or McDonald's or whatever. I think it's when they try to go out of their box and try to come up with a company, like if they were trying to do, and I'll just throw it out this way. So if they try to do a Hispanic movie, a movie that involved Mexicans, let's go Mexican straight up because that means beans. So they went with, and the reason I say that is some Hispanic cultures don't have beans. Mexican culture has beans. So they went with like a bean company and did some bean promotion with burritos or something. That could be perceived as racist though, because of where it's coming from. Do you know what I mean? Is that their fear, do you think?
Yeah, I think that Hollywood, and again, these people want to be able to say that they can validate their jobs and their positions. They have to act as though there is a formula. There is a proven 100% foolproof guaranteed formula that this is how something is marketed based on these elements. There might be certain truths to that, but that's not the end all be all. Because again, we've seen where that formula doesn't completely work at times.
Right.
So don't insult the intelligence of the audience by thinking that there's this 100% proof guaranteed way to make something work when some of that is steeped in just racist bullshit. You know, I saw an interview recently, and listen, are there going to be some people that sit in the theater and look at this and go, wow, a film about a bunch of black people with no whites in it. I can already not relate. But then on top of that, it feels cultural. It's tribal. It's African. The swords, the shields, the accents, I don't want no part of that world. I saw Viola Davis do an interview recently, and I think she was speaking to Woman King, where she said there was somebody prominent that she met in a Hollywood setting, and they just felt so comfortable simply saying, I just don't find black women attractive. Now, again, we've talked about this before where it's like, you look at Halle Berry, gorgeous woman, softer features, you know what I mean? Versus a Viola Davis, very dark skin, hair very ethnic and coarse, very strong features in terms of nose, lips. And I believe Viola Davis is a beautiful woman. I believe that there are a lot of people, black and white, but particularly black, who will also echo that Viola Davis is a beautiful woman. But then there are those, even within our own culture, but then there are those, like she said, whoever this person was, that just simply flat out went, nah, not for me. So I think that there are people in Hollywood who look at that finished product, The Woman King, and go, all these black folks, it's cultural, it's ethnic, it's tribal, it's accents. Ugh. That's just their feeling. Yeah. Ugh. How do we promote this?
But speaking to that on that side, I don't think there's any difference in promoting it. They do it the same way they always do. You tie into McDonald's, and because black people, white people, Hispanic, everybody goes to McDonald's, and you do the promotion just like anybody else. I don't understand why when it's any other film, they have no problem doing marketing tie-ins. I don't see that as the issue. But what I do find funny though is when you said, and I do find it somewhat belittling when a reporter or whatever, however you said that, with Viola Davis goes, I don't find black women attractive. But there's plenty of black men that would say, I don't find white women attractive. Is that not true?
Listen.
But I don't think you put it out there like that.
Okay, listen. When I saw Top Gun Maverick, one of the things I thought to myself, and again, in terms of, and I've said this on Vlad, and I think you and I have touched upon this, in terms of what you like, there's nothing wrong with a personal preference. Now, how you, if you paint a picture with a broad stroke, which is to say all, I think that's where things get touchy. Like, I was watching Top Gun Maverick, and dude, I went, yo, Jennifer Connelly is so beautiful. She's so fucking beautiful to me. But man, that no ass. Like, no ass, dude. The scenes where Tom Cruise drops her off at the crib, off the bike, and she's walking to the crib, I'm like, dude, her ass is the size of a tin lunchbox from the 80s. With the thermostat. Like, it's just, now, I happen to be an ass man. I like ass. So as beautiful as she is, regardless of her being white, she's a beautiful woman. But she just don't have the rear derriere that I like.
She don't have the goodies.
Right. And again, are all women like that? A lot of them. But there are exceptions to the rule, i.e. a Coco, Ice-T's wife. I've seen them. There are exceptions to the rule. Do all black men have big dicks? Certainly not. That is one of the biggest myths ever. But if you were to take all the races and line them up, we come first when it comes to big dicks. So again, it's just whatever you like. But again, There are people. Listen, that's why I go, stop being slick, Hollywood. You're being slick. If the product is good and you piece it together right, let the audience decide.
That's
Put
it
it
right
in the
there.
audience's hand.
That's it right there.
They'll decide. They'll decide whether or not it's worth seeing. Because yes, there are going to be some people that have the racial hangups. That's just the nature of the fucked up human beast. But that's not the majority of people. The majority of people aren't racist. The majority of people aren't simple-minded. Even amongst those that are, that's not the majority. So the majority is going to decide, hey man, this is worth seeing because it just looks good. I'm a fan of Viola Davis. You know, my biggest concern was not about any of the shit that I think Hollywood is concerned about. My biggest concern was, you got Black Panther coming out, which from, again, African cultural tribalism, you can't help but see the similarities. But one is based on, this Marvel machine, a comic book. So that comes automatically with its own head start. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you're a fan of Marvel, if you're a fan of the comic books, it comes with a history. So the people out there that love Marvel and that love Black Panther, and especially after seeing how they implemented that into the end game and the whole MCU universe, you're already a part of that team. You're a part of what that stands for. Whereas with Woman King, this is its own thing. Are there similarities? Yes. But this is completely different in its own right. So while there is a comparison, there is no comparison.
But and then going to what you just said, and I think this is the bigger tell of Hollywood. Black Panther. I remember them saying, how are we going to market Black Panther? Well, it's a comic book movie. You market it just like any other comic book movie. And when they did that, it worked, and they got more Black people to come out to the theaters to see a comic book movie. So it's a win-win. So same thing with this next movie. You market it for what it is. It's a movie, an action movie. And it happens to be starring a woman. So now you're going to get more women to come out to this movie. You're going to get more Black people to come out to this movie. Market it the way you I don't understand why they think that there's just some magical, there's some number that they're going to key into a computer and it's going to say, oh, you need to do it this way. Do it the way you've been doing it. It's either going to work or it's not going to work.
That's why I'm saying it. You can't help but, and I know, again, to people who want to probably roll their eyes and go, oh man, Black people always got to play the race card. This is Black people's reality in America. Sometimes, yes, there are Black people that take advantage and play the race card, but a lot of times it ain't playing a card. This is our reality. When it comes to us, there's got to be some voodoo. There's got to be some secret sauce. There's got to be a different mix. Like, how do we market 1 million niggas on screen without any white people? And they're all painted up and they're doing tribal dances and they got shields and swords and their hair is nappy and they're speaking in an African dialect. How do we sell this to white folks in Minnesota? Like, it's always a special thing with us.
Well, but it's not just you. It's not just Black. When Slumdog Millionaire came out, that was one of those phenomenon hits. It was like, oh, this show, but it's Indian. And how did this become a hit? Because it was good. Let the people market it. People can market too. If you put out a good product and you put it in enough theaters and people like it and you follow the trend, you could make a movie. You could make a movie that makes money. Again, like you said, I think it's racism. I think there's a hint, like you said, it's a gumbo. There's a hint of racism with a hint of fear layered in some tradition that is ununderstood. And that's what
I don't know. I don't know whether it was Jay Leno or David Letterman that did the interview with Eddie Murphy. I want to say it was Jay Leno, but there was an interview where Eddie Murphy was promoting Boomerang. And he said one of the white critics couldn't get into the movie because he didn't understand how there were no white people working in this business of, Eddie was in a marketing campaign.
Advertising
agency. How is it that there are no white people that are telling the black people what to do in this business setting.
He said it that way?
Yeah. He said all these black people are well-dressed, suits, business attire. They're all well-to-do, educated, successful, and they're running around these offices and cubicles. Who's their boss? Where's the white boss? And that's what I mean. So to think that doesn't go on in Hollywood, that there's not white Hollywood executives they think that way.
Yeah. Well, you got to think, that, you know what it goes to? That's even in their imagination, they have to have a white boss around black dudes. Yeah. Even in their imagination, it couldn't even, you know how you say you go to a movie and you have to have some suspension of disbelief? They can't, they're so far gone, they can't even get that.
That for them is their Fast and Furious. That's their the suspension of disbelief. You're asking me to believe that black people are well-to-do, self-sufficient, and they're their own bosses? This is ridiculous.
Dude, that's the movie. That's the name of our movie. It's about black people running shit, and it's called Suspension of Disbelief.
That's hilarious. The movie is called Suspension of Disbelief. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
That's our movie. That's the name of this podcast.
Suspension of Disbelief.
Yeah, that's the email. Suspension of Disbelief.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. Oh, I think that's it.
Yeah, man. Let's do some dates. Ladies and gentlemen, Aries and I are back on the road, and we're going to be in Raleigh Improv this weekend. You're listening to it. You listen to this on the 22nd. We're here. We're in Raleigh. We're going to be there the 22nd to the 25th. Aries, we're going to go get one of them biscuits. I forgot where we got that.
Is that where we got that?
Yeah, we got that biscuit. We had to go down to by the university.
That's right. That was the what was it? Was it Tar Heels?
Yeah, and that's what that.
What's the name of that college? Jordan's place.
Yeah,
the Tar Heels.
UNC? Is it UNC?
No, you're not UNC.
No, he's North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina.
But what is it called? It's called something, isn't it? Initials.
I don't know.
University of North Carolina.
University of North Carolina.
Oh, okay, UNC. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just a country boy from North Carolina.
Okay, and then we went to that, and then there's that waffle place, that chicken and waffle place that we went to too. I can't remember.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, the one I like, the one with the red velvet.
And it has the different butters. The different butters.
Yes.
So we'll be there. We'll be out in the town. After that, we're going to be at Levity Live in New York State. That's the 30th through October 2nd. We'll be there. And then I'm on vacation. We spoke about vacations. You know what? I didn't answer his question. When's the best time to take a vacation? When your girl gets 2 weeks to go to her job in London, and I can stay there for free. That's the best time to take a vacation. So I'm going, we'll be at, Aries is going to be at the Brea Improv the 7th through the 9th. And then he's going to be at Hartford Funny Bone the 14th and the 15th, followed by the Richmond Funny Bone the 21st and 22nd. And then we'll meet back up to be in Orlando Improv the 28th through the 30th of October. Yep, that's our schedule.
And after you hear this, you've already heard Wednesday's podcast, which I believe made 300 episode. That was episode 389. You're hearing this email episode, which is episode 399, which is to say, for the milestone of 400, we are going to give you guys a best of the Spears and Steinberg podcast, which I'm looking forward to because I'm trying to piece together that now to give it to our Wizard of Oz, Steve.
It's going to be executive produced by you. Executive produced by Aries.
Look at that. How do we market that? A nigga in control.
Suspension of disbelief. Maybe we should say that for the name of the podcast for the 400. Suspension of disbelief.
No, I wouldn't want to. No, this fits this.
Okay.
That's simply best of.
Best of. Number 400, best of.
And I'm excited about that too, because at the end, we will be replacing the famous, hey, don't you think you're being a little kind of hard at a guy? You go fuck yourself, convict. With my new favorite clip. Don't Don't you want to do it, missionary? No, I don't like the face. I don't want to see the face. Please, why not? Doggy style or on your side. Those are your only options. This is my house. Can't wait to hear that.
When he was, I just would love to have been there when he read it for the first time and just went,
You mean like at the table read?
Yeah, just to see how he was going to deliver that line.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting. I think I've told this story on the podcast. Before they did the movie, the Antoine Fisher story with Derek Luke as Antoine Fisher, they had a table read set up on the campus of UCLA. And Denzel was at the table read, and they asked me to read at the table read. And I was so pumped to see, is Denzel going to be 100% Denzel at the read? And I don't know if all actors do or don't do this. And I remember, right, when I did Jerry Maguire, it felt like both Tom Cruise and Denzel held back. It's a table read. It's not live, on lights, camera, action. So I don't think they give their all immediately.
Yeah.
It's not in front of cameras.
They're trying to hear it. They're trying to hear the words.
They're trying to hear it. So yeah, I don't think he gave that performance until it was time.
You know who I'd like to see do an impression of it besides you? I like your impression. I would love to see Jim Carrey do that. Jim Carrey just saying those same lines.
Yeah, I think he would jim it up too much.
But it would be funny the way he would do it with the faces. Just like it's not in the face. The face. There's something about it that seems, if you don't,
maybe if I never saw De Niro do it.
Yeah,
because De Niro's so good, and again, when you think De Niro, I think the first thing that comes to your mind are the stereotypical Italian mobster movies,
right?
Because that's his culture, that's who he is, that's what part of who he is. To see him play this role, which is far from that,
yeah,
and be that good and that much of a dick and that much where you hated him, and you could it was such a different, offbeat kind of character.
That's a Harvey Keitel kind of character, more so than a Robert De Niro character.
Yeah, I just think with Jim Carrey, I just feel, alrighty then. I just think he would add that to it and fuck it up. Doggy style run your tight. Do you really upset? This is my house. This is my house. All right, let me get off of this. All right, coming up. Big Cool the Poet. I think it's called In My Zone. Instagram at COOLDAPOET. Twitter, same thing. COOLDAPOET. SoundCloud, same thing. COOLDAPOET. And Spotify, Cool the Poet. COOLDAPOET. And it's called In My Zone. Enjoy.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this shit, it was hosted by Ari Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer Big Papa Robert Kelly and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.